For July 24th, 2009, this is News Undies. All the news that shouldn't be news. I'm Paul Torville with these headlines. In an effort to preserve his party's hold on power, Japanese Prime Minister Asshole buried the lower house of Parliament in lime... Oh. Yes, okay. I see. Right. Last warning. Okay. The Prime Minister's name is pronounced Aso, and he dissolved Parliament, which is a political maneuver and rarely involves the burying of human corpses in lime, just for the record. The famous Watergate complex is for sale. Actually, it went up for auction this week, and there were no bidders. The previous owner defaulted on the $40 million mortgage, and the lender is now looking for a buyer. Good luck with that. Sarah Palin on Twitter. India, a nation on the fence between almost unparalleled scientific prowess and ancient superstitious nonsense, was expected to descend into utter chaos when the moon obscured the sun for a brief time on Wednesday. Indian astrologers made all sorts of predictions, including food becoming inedible, water becoming undrinkable, birth defects, terrorist attacks, natural disasters, assassinations of important political leaders, world wars, and other similar apocalyptic scenarios. C-section deliveries were rescheduled. Ritual bathing is at an all-time high. Fasting and prayer have become very popular. The moon obscured the sun briefly and went on its way. Doomsday? Never happened. You're watching this, aren't you? Yes. Sure, there were stampedes of people who believed the astrologers, leaving at least one dead, to the Ganges for a total sin cleanse, as if that heavily polluted river has any sort of cleansing properties. And yet, the U.S. press was perfectly comfortable reporting on the crackpotty quality of the Indian superstitions. When the time comes to report on some wacky Christian nonsense, they bow their heads in reverence. Makes a guy sick, you know? We'll have more news after this. Hey gang, it's time for celebrity birthdays once again. I got my cake hat on. Let's rock. Okay, you ready for this? I have a cake on my head! Saturday the 18th, Andre Gromyko, dead. Red Skelton, dead. And John Glenn, who's not dead. Sunday the 19th, Samuel Colt, dead. Lizzie Borden, dead. And Max Fleischer, dead. Monday the 20th, Sir Edmund Hillary, dead. Donna Dixon and Omar Epps. Tuesday the 21st, Ernest Hemingway, dead. Don Knotts, dead. And Janet Reno. Wednesday the 22nd, Bob Dole, Alex Trebek, Albert Brooks, and Don Henley. Thursday the 23rd, Georges Machiavelli, he's dead. Arthur Treacher, he's dead. And Bert Convey, he's dead. He was eaten by card sharks. Nobody thinks that's funny. That really isn't funny. It was sad. It was sad. Friday the 24th, Amelia Earhart. Well, let's see. She's been missing for 72 years. She'd be 112. Probably dead. She's probably dead. Dan Hedaya and Linda Carter. Yeah, Linda Carter. Wow. That's Celebrity Birthdays. I'm Paul Torville, and I am done! A pair of recent headlines shows who the real boss is. The first one is, Anglicans alter communion ritual due to flu scare. The second one is, Pope uses tape recorder as writing tough with cast. In brief, these two headlines show that science and technology trump God every time. The highest dude in the Catholic Church, God's left-hand man, can't get a little help with his fractured wrist. And the scientifically demonstrable reality of the germ theory of disease has caused the Anglican Church to alter one of its most important regular rituals, because they can't count on God to sanitize the communion chalice between worshippers. Speaks volumes, doesn't it? California marijuana. In keeping with the observations of the 40th anniversary of the Apollo 11 landing, Pig and Sheep are going to discuss manned spaceflight. Take it away, guys.
Manned spaceflight is way too risky, way too expensive. Unlike the effort to spread democracy in Afghanistan and Iraq, no risk or expense there. And besides, there's lots of problems down here on Earth the government could ignore without spending all that taxpayer money on letting small groups of brave individuals inspire us to become better educated and more pragmatically contemplative.
Does he, ever listen to himself? Okay, so manned spaceflight and, more importantly, a vigorous program of exploration can inspire. It can be a tremendous economic engine and an impetus to improve education. It can show the world that we're serious about peace if we seriously redirect our national purpose to space exploration rather than exploitation of weaker nations here on Earth. The United States used to be an admired leader. It has let itself go and is now a swaggering, bloated windbag, a caricature of its former self. It's time to take back the leadership role, not by force, but by example.
Well, that's what Pig and Sheep think. What are your thoughts? Email them to ovcomments@newsundies.com. President Obama met with Apollo 11 astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Mike Collins for the 40th anniversary of their historic landing. Obama took the opportunity to avoid reaffirming any commitment to NASA or its stated goals. Thanks for nothing, Mr. President. Okay, I'm trying really hard not to discuss that guy who died a month ago. Not Farrah, not Ed, that other guy, him, Macbeth. Well, anyway, his doctor is apparently in hot water. Dr. Conrad Murray was the last person to see Macbeth alive, and now his Houston, Texas office has been raided by the DEA, and the warrant was to search for and seize evidence relating to a possible manslaughter charge. Oops. Oh, dear. Remember those stupid Taco Bell ads with the talking chihuahua? Yo quiero Taco Bell and drop the chalupa. All classics. The dog's dead. Yeah, Gidget the Chihuahua is dead at 15. We'll have more after this.
You'll notice that when you watch NewsUndies, I'm always wearing a shirt from the Ursus Pacificus Kitsch Cave. Well, now you can too. You can help support NewsUndies by going to the Ursus Pacificus Kitsch Cave and getting some kitsch.
Healthcare. And finally, and I do mean finally, we all saw this coming, didn't we? Oh, the mental health records for Seung-hui Cho have finally turned up in the home of Dr. Robert C. Miller. Name's not ringing a bell? Oh, well, Seung-hui Cho was the student who went on a rampage through 2 buildings at Virginia Tech, killing 32 and injuring another 23. Then he committed suicide, of course, back in 2007. And Dr. Miller was the director of the Virginia Tech campus clinic. What was Miller doing with the records? Well, that's a good question. I'll tell you one thing he wasn't doing with them. Having Cho committed a year in advance of the shootings. He could have done it, but he didn't. Good job, Doc. Well, that's all for this edition of NewsUndies. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Paul Torville. After that, I'll still be Paul Torville.